Hello folks and welcome to an inkdependence.com brief video review. This time we have a pen. This one is a Regal. I haven't reviewed any of these yet. This is the first. It's actually the first of several. I have another 1, 2, 3, 4 of these maybe to go. These will be coming to you interspersed over the next few weeks. These were all sent out to me by massdrop.com. If you're not familiar with Massdrop, you can go and check that one out. You will need to either register for an account or sign in with Facebook or some such thing in order to get in. But it is it's one of these websites that has a lot of stuff that you can get for decent prices if enough people sign up. It's one of those kind of deal sites. So anyway, this was sent out to me by them. Thanks to Jonas and Colin for sending those out. I appreciate it. This is from 1979. This company started. I missed meeting the guy who runs Regal at the DC Pen Show. I just kept missing him. I couldn't find the guy, but you know, it's DC, so you know how that goes. This is the packaging. Let's go ahead and open this up. You've got this nice sleeve. Push that over there. Inside, a fairly nice box. This is actually the same kind of box that you find on some Metropolitans. At least there used to be these on Metropolitans. The last one I got had a very different box, but this one has this sort of magnetic closure type of hoobie. You can actually see where the magnet is on here. I've been playing with it. But anyway, there we go. Again, Regal 1979 on the inside of here. Inside, there's a nice little gold pillow, but no band on there, so probably you won't be keeping your pen in here and carrying it around. I don't know. But yeah, decent little display box. Inside that is a bag. Again, Regal since 1979. Also the year I was born, in case you're curious, so that's that. Alright, inside that you have a pen. This is the Regal George. The model is George. It's actually kind of a nice pen. When I opened these up, I was like, I don't know about this. This is kind of blingy for my taste, but I've been carrying it around for a while, and I've sort of gotten used to it. So, I don't usually carry a whole lot of bling. I mean, the ones I've got sitting on my desk are like this. I guess this one's kind of in the same realm, but it's not nearly as flashy as this Regal. The Regal is, it's a pretty flashy pen, this one. So let's take a look at it. You have this kind of nice silvery stuff here. This is, I don't know, probably chrome of some kind. It's not actual silver. Gold on the ends, and gold the clip. Now the clip I thought was going to be spring-loaded because of the way it goes into the cap here, but in reality it's actually just a fairly stiff clip. I did not have any problems putting this over the pocket of jeans, or did I put it on jeans? Maybe I didn't try it on jeans. Hold on a sec. You can't see what's going on here, but I am trying to clip it on jeans. And hey, it works perfectly well, actually. So yeah, plenty of seam, room for the seam up here. It doesn't get stretched out too much, no big deal. I kept it in the, the buttony placket thing on a shirt for quite a while. This is a slip cap pen, or a snap cap pen, like that. So I did, I didn't have to worry too much because, as you can tell, it actually takes a little bit of force to remove, so that's good. That's a good feature. And I've taken it on and off quite a bit. It doesn't seem to be wearing out. A nice positive click each time. You can see here there's some like a nice cutout here in the clip. There's a little bit of an emblem up here. There we go. Blow that up. Boom. Huge. All right, that's the emblem. I believe that's the Regal emblem. It's that little crown. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Now you can see it. All right. Also here on the cap band is inscribed Regal. And then above that is a little bit of well, I don't know what you call that. Filigree isn't quite it, I guess, but a little bit of a black inlay in this this gold scroll work here. I think probably they should have left off with the black and just let it be gold, because there are a couple of places. Can I find them now? You'll see them in the photographs. Oh yeah, here it is, right here. You just can't see because of glare. Maybe right there, but there is kind of a line of scratching action going on there, and it was like that when I got the pen. I think it must have been like machining or something, or just didn't fully spray in that area. Maybe it kind of starts here, goes around the cap band, and then kind of stops. It wasn't quite in the right place, but I think it would have been fine if they just left that off there. There's no other black on the pen anywhere, really, so they could have just left that off and been perfectly fine. But from any distance at all, you're not going to really notice that little scuff. So that's not too bad. Alright, take off the cap here. Don't roll away. There we go. You can see here it's got a little bit of like a plastic inner cap there, kind of, metally stuff going on. Not a whole lot to report, honestly. It's a cap. It has a little bit of weight, but it's not too bad. I've had much heavier caps in the past. Most of the weight is actually up here at the end, though, on this cap. So if you have small hands, maybe posting it is going to be uncomfortable for you. It does post pretty well. Very well, actually. And there's a little bit of a You can't really barely hear it, but it does post, and it posts pretty well, I think. For me, I don't know. I'll write with it capped a little bit. I have. It's not a problem, but I kind of prefer it unposted. I think this is fine. You'll see down here, the section is got a nice curve to it. Actually, I kind of wish they'd left that uncurved, but that's just because I have kind of big fingers. And so holding it like this, I feel like my fingers are all like right together, and that's how I usually write. So when I write with this one, I noticed as I was writing some stuff for this review that I write here and I put my thumb up here and then like sort of control it this way. And that works perfectly fine. It's just barely long enough to be comfortable unposted, so it works fine for me. But again, big hands. This is a normal sized pen, so there you go. All right. You can see there's a little bit of a step here, but since it is a slip cap design, it is not going to be rough. It's not going to cut into your fingers or whatever. Like I said, this is perfectly comfortable. Inside here, metal threads on metal threads, which I think is a good feature. I don't really like metal threads on plastic threads. I wish they wouldn't do that. On pens, it just feels like it's going to wear out eventually to me. But there seems to be, I don't know, maybe a very light layer of brass in here. It definitely has enough heft that it could be metal lined, although I can't see inside there at all. Not past the threads even. So I don't really know, but it doesn't really, maybe it's aluminum, but I'm going to guess that it's probably brass, like a brass sleeve with this chromoly stuff over the top. Anyway, then on here, you know, metal threads. The paint goes all the way up to threads. It might actually not be paint. Let me see if it's scuffed anywhere. I don't know. I can't really tell what it's made of. It's definitely metal of some kind. It's not plastic, but they're a little bit stingy with details on their website, so I don't really know. Let me back the ink off here a little bit. It actually didn't come with this converter. This is one that I put on there. It only came with, and let's see, can you see in there? No, not really. It's black on black. There's not enough light, but there is just a regular old nipple in there. This takes the international sort of cartridge. It didn't come with the converter, just the cartridge. Here's the cartridge. It's all empty. I actually used up most of the cartridge when I was playing with the pen, and I don't actually recognize this cartridge either. It's got a little agitator ball on there, which is nice, but the end is oddly thick. Like, kind of the ink stops there, and you have this end cap. But I'm not sure what's up with that. I don't know where this cartridge comes from, but the ink actually isn't bad. I used up most of it. There's just a smidge left. I sort of syringed it out and put it in this converter just so I could keep using the same ink. And fits in there just fine, and of course the converter fits back in the pen just fine, so you can use a converter with this one. It just didn't come with one. Maybe the one that Mass Drop actually drops will have that in there. I don't know. But you might want to check the Regal website for that kind of information before you buy one, if you really want that. The nib is not bad at all. It's it's kind of a simple nib. Let's see if I can take some of the light off of it. There's a little bit. That's better. So you've got the Regal crown there in the middle. It says Regal underneath, and it has 18 karat gold plate. I imagine this bit up here. Not very much gold plate at all. You're not really paying for that. I don't know who makes the nibs for Regal, but they're pretty decent. This one I did do a little bit of work with. It felt a little bit rough when I got it, and the tines were a little bit out of whack. No big deal. I just kind of bent the tine back just a smidge. Looking at it under a loop, you can tell when they're bent, but let's see, this magnification, you probably can't tell, and they're fine now. I put them back in alignment with no problem at all. And then it was just a little bit scratchy, so I worked it on some micro mesh stuff, figure eights and all that jazz. And now it's great. I have no problems with this pen now. It writes just fine. If it wasn't for this little swoopy section right here, I would probably use it a lot more. But as it is, it has to write a little bit differently, and I don't know, it kind of bothers me. But that's just because I have big hands. The nib is fine, so don't worry about that. Pretty standard feed and everything in there. I pulled it out and scrubbed it and stuff to make sure there's no residue on it or anything. But it wrote pretty well out of the box. And like I said, the cartridge that came with it was fine. I don't know if most people keep those or not, but there you go. This is, let's see, come on, let's get this white balanced again. There we go. So this is really what I've said here. There's no problem with the ink, really. Tines need a little bit of adjusting, a little bit of smoothing, so take that into account. You may get it a little bit rough. I don't think that they do any nib work on these before they send them out, but writes up just fine. Let's see how it starts. I haven't used it in a little while. Yep, no problems at all. So, starts right up. The ink feed is fine. I write fairly quickly in general, maybe quicker than that when I'm writing smaller and whatnot, but it writes pretty well. This is a medium nib, I guess. They don't really have nib sizes on these. Let me see. Yeah, no nib size on this nib, but they don't really have options, so I'm guessing it's kind of a medium. It's on the larger side for medium, maybe, but it does write perfectly well. And after I did some nib tuning to it, it's got no appreciable feedback. It's pretty smooth. I really like that quite a bit. So no problems there at all. The nib works just fine, and so does the pen. So this has been the Regal Jennings, goodness, Jennings another. This is a Regal George. Yeah, Regal George. You can find this on massdrop.com if you get there fairly quickly after this link is posted. I forget how long they let those drops run, usually a month or something maybe, but you know, go check that out. The link will be on the blog at inkdependence.com. You can also find these at some other stores. I think iPen Store maybe has them, or the Regal website sells them, of course. So if you want to get a hold of one there. So there you go. This has been the Regal George. Hi folks, I actually forgot to show other pens along this size, so through the magic of editing, here's a little bit more. So this is the Regal George. This is a Schaefer Targa. This is a fairly oldish Targa. I got new old stock. They're roughly the same size. Here's a Levenger, that's the L-Tech, so that's about the same size. Here I've got a Delta Unica. This is the Anderson Pen Special Unica. It's a little bit shorter than the massive TWSBI 700. It's a Conklin Crescent filler. All roughly in the same size, and all actually in the same sort of price bracket, which is why I'm showing these here. When you, if you find this on Massdrop, so you know, relatively quickly after I post this blog, you'll be able to find the Regal George here for the lowest price being $76, which actually is a fine price for this pen. The full price, I guess, is $110, and that's, I think, a bit overpriced. You're paying for, well, I'm not sure, a little bit of bling maybe. I don't know. I think it's a little bit overpriced at $110, but at $76, that ain't bad. All these other pens can be had for around that price range if you find them at the right place and time. And so, you know, that's kind of the price range in the area that you're in. Oh, this one may be too. Actually, you can't get this anymore. This is the Fountain K they just released from Karas Customs. There aren't very many of these. It's the full-on brass, but it's about that size. It's a little bit more expensive than the George is, at least at this sale price of $76, but you know, just a little bit. So that's the kind of price range and the sort of stuff that it's up against, which is stiff competition, because all of these are very good pens. So this pen really strikes me as one that maybe you'd get as a gift. I think it's more of a gifty sort of pen than maybe when you buy for yourself to use. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money. Since I got this for free, I can't tell you whether I would have bought it or not. But in this review, I can tell you that it writes perfectly well. I had to do a little bit of work with it, but very, very little. I've had to do the same kind of work with several other pens, especially high-end stuff that I've gotten. And so I don't feel bad at all about including that information, and also sort of saying, it's not such a big deal. It might not be perfect right out of the box, but you can make it very, very, very good. So anyway, there you go. That's the comparison. And I am Mike. This is inkdependence.com. If you like what's going on here, please, well, support Massdrop if you want to go and throw a few bucks their way through one of these pens or one of their other fine things. They also do, like, I don't know, knives, and they do mechanical keyboards and speakers and all manner of things. So they've got communities for all that kind of stuff. So go check those things out there. What else? Oh, hey, if you like what's going on here, go to patreon.com/inkdependence to find out how you can help support the blog and my efforts here. Thanks again to Massdrop for sending this out, and peace out.